All right, time for a morning beat. This is reportedly an effort to increase transparency and accountability in property seizure here in Hawaii. Chad Blair is here to explain from Civil Beat. Good morning to you, Chad.
Good morning, Grace.
All right, so why don't we talk about where things stand right now, because there's a new bill that's trying to change the way things are.
Right, so here's the way the things are. Right now, law enforcement can seize people's stuff, their property. That includes homes, that includes cars, could be cash, could be drugs. Why do they do that? Because they are investigating a crime, and they say that that's an essential tool. If they can seize the stuff, then they can come up with a conviction. But here's the thing, not only do you not have to be convicted of a crime to have stuff stolen from you, you don't even have to be charged. So right now, the state legislature has a bill that says, let's change that law. Let's require a felony conviction in order to seize that property.
Okay, so in the past, our state has ranked poorly. I think the Institute for Justice gave us a D- because of where we stand right now.
Yeah, what they said, it was a pretty low bar to clear in order to seize that stuff. In fact, several other states have done away with this process altogether. Well, we tried to fix this law back under Governor David Ige. He ended up vetoing it. He said, oh, no, the state attorney general's taking care of this. It's all being done properly, checks and balances. But clearly there's a problem. Here's one of the problems. If you lose your stuff, does the state just come to you and say, oh, here it is, sorry, little mistake there? No, the burden to get that back is on the person who actually lost the property.
Then the property owner themselves, whether or not they're convicted, that's where the burden lies.
That's right, and usually that means you got to hire a lawyer, and you know lawyers aren't cheap, and not a lot of the people that get convicted or charged actually have a lot of money to do this. Here's another problem. If that property doesn't get claimed, well, the police gets to sell it. Guess where that revenue goes?
Where does that revenue go, Chad?
The revenue goes to the very same people that are seizing the property. So the argument is that's kind of like a profit incentive, right? That's why some have said, is this legalized theft?
Because, and they're also saying this is a recipe that's ripe for corruption.
Exactly. So we'll see if it changes, but right now there's only a couple of weeks left in the legislature. There's some disagreements in the bill. House and Senate got to come up with a compromise. We'll see whether it passes or not.
This is also the last bill standing, because there were actually several of them that were trying to change this process.
6, count them, Grace. There were 6 at the beginning of session. You can't pass all 6 bills. It's down to 1. But when you have that many competing versions of a bill, it's often very difficult to reach language that's acceptable to both the House and Senate.
I imagine this is not the first time this effort has been made.
No. It happened some years ago. It's going to happen again if it doesn't pass now. But I could tell you Senator Karl Rhoads and others are still pushing for this. We'll see what the story is after session ends.
All right, not much time left, as you said.
Not much.
All right, well, you can read the full article. It is on civilbeat.org, or you can text 66866 to get the newsletter. I want to say thank you to Chad for explaining this complicated issue.
Thank you, Grace.
All right.